So are you somebody that's always known from a young age that you were going to be a teacher? Was it like your
Yes.
calling?
Yes, I did. Second grade, Mrs. Jackson. And that's the same story that most teachers, I think, would tell you,
Really?
is that it would be somebody that influenced them. Not totally, but there's a lot of teachers that have the same story. It's like, I went to school and I just loved school because I loved that teacher and I wanted to become a teacher. So my second grade teacher and my fifth grade teacher was a character, just Mr. Edinger. And these are both in Orno, and he entertained us a lot. He sang a lot, and he had us do craft projects a lot. I don't know how much I learned, but I loved school.
Right.
But isn't that half the battle, loving school?
Right,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, so I think that was the reason, and I can remember in sixth grade walking into school one day and saying, oh my gosh, I don't know how to become a teacher. So I went up to the substitute teacher that day and I said, so what do you major in college? She goes, education. And I'm like, education? Okay. So that was it. I thought I was always going to be a second grade teacher. I've never been a second grade teacher. but it was, it was definitely my dream. So, yeah.
And then did you go to UMaine?
I went to Farmington.
Okay.
Yep. And because I didn't feel like I needed to go far with that, but I went to UMF, and the reason being is I interviewed both there and at Orno, and the dean at Orno was a friend of my parents, and he goes, you know what, if you're going into education, you need to go to Farmington. I'm like, okay. And I grew up in Orno. I didn't really want to stay in Orno.
Right.
So it was what I wanted to hear.
Right.
So
I grew up in Old Town.
Oh, okay.
And
yeah.
I did go to Orno.
Oh, okay.
It was just far enough away from me.
Right. That's funny. My sister went to Orno, but she had done a foreign exchange to Norway for a year, and then she did an exchange to Canada for a year once she was in school. So she didn't really stay around, but she did graduate from UMO. I did my master's at UMO.
Was that? Did you do that right after, or like a few years later? Or?
I waited probably 4 years to do my master's.
Yeah.
So.
And what was the master's in education too?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just I was teaching 8th grade, so 8th grade literature. So, and then as soon as I finished my master's, I got a job in 5th grade and stayed there for 30 years. So I really liked 5th grade.